So if we zoom back out then, so are you saying that that is a telltale sign of a broader character issue that this individual has? Because earlier you said that we really should be focusing on like character traits. Is that a red flag of some kind of other character trait?
I think that when things are hard in the beginning, that's not a good sign. So I think that when there's like a big disconnect in the beginning, that you should pay attention to that. So a big disconnect is not, the example I gave earlier of, he said yes to the tap water. That's different from he didn't pay for my coffee. That's different. The tap water might be, oh, I don't know. Is he cheap? I don't know. Let's see. Let me get to know him better. This is about generosity. They're different things. And so, I feel like relationships, I always say to people when they overlook things in the beginning, I think there are two camps on this. There's the people who think everything is a red flag. That's not, like the tap water, not a red flag. But there are people who don't pay enough attention to the red flags in the beginning. So they say, yes, this person, they kind of disappeared for a couple days and I didn't like that. And, or they're late all the time, or, whatever it is. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a deal breaker, but it's kind of a flag that you want to discuss early on. So what happens is if you don't discuss it is a person will say, after they're in a relationship and they've been dating for several months and they're moving along, and the person says, I can't stand it when you're late every time. And he says, why is this a problem? I've always been late. Why is this a problem now? Right? So if you bring it up early before the cement dries. So, I always say relationships are like cement, that there's room for things to move in the beginning before things kind of really get hard and difficult to change. But once the cement dries, it's much harder to change those habits or those interactions or the dance that you're doing with the other person. So if you don't like something in the beginning, you might want to bring it up to see how much wiggle room is there here. Can this person be more aware of being on time? Because I don't like sitting there for half an hour every time we make plans.
We're getting married a lot less, and we're getting married
later,
yeah. So there was a stat that I found that said, for the first time ever, but people over the age of 30 haven't been married in higher numbers than ever before. So yeah, marriage is getting later and later in people's lives. But I also found this really interesting graph, which I printed out, which shows that there seems to be an optimal time to get married.
Yes, I was just going to mention that there's a window.
So I'll put it up on the screen for anyone that's looking, and I'll put it in the description below. But it essentially shows that if you get married after 30, you're more likely to get divorced than if you got married between 25 and 30.
Right. So there's a sweet spot. So if you get married too young, you're more likely to get divorced. Meaning if you get married sort of under 20, I think it's 22 or 23. But if you get married over, I think it's 28, you have more likelihood of getting divorced.